police are just now talking publicly about a pregnant woman who was ambushed and killed a year ago.
I fear no man. I fear no man. I don't fear their little pow-pows. I fear no man, because that's all they can do is shoot.
That's the message from the mother of Melanie Massay to the 7 suspects accused of killing her daughter in an ambush attack in Lakewood in February a year ago. Massay was 21 years old and pregnant. Police kept the case under wraps until last week when police announced first-degree murder charges against 7 suspects. 5 are currently in custody, but police are still looking for Isaac Parihi and Jalee Burks.
Imagine a cold February afternoon in a quiet Colorado neighborhood. Kids play in nearby yards, cars hum along Wadsworth Boulevard, and the light rail rumbles in the distance. It's the kind of place where you wave to your neighbors, where life feels safe, predictable. But on February 28th, 2023, that illusion shattered with the sound of gunfire. A young woman, just 21 years old, stepped out of a car and into a nightmare. Her name was Melanie Massay, a vibrant, kind-hearted mother, 4 months pregnant with twins. In an instant, her life and the lives of her unborn children were stolen in a brutal ambush. Not by strangers, not by faceless enemies, but by 7 people she called friends. What could drive 7 individuals, people Melanie fed, housed, and trusted, to conspire against her, to wait in the shadows of Zephyr Street, armed and ready to end her life? This wasn't a random act of violence. This was betrayal, cold and calculated, born from a Facebook dispute that spiraled into something far darker. Welcome to Dark Truth Files, where real stories hide in the shadows and we bring them to light. These aren't just chilling tales. They actually happened. When you like, share, and subscribe, you're not just growing this channel. You're spreading awareness, protecting others, and maybe saving a life. So don't just watch. Be the reason someone stays safe. Stay alert, stay informed, stay alive. Today, we dive into the murder of Melanie Massay, a story of loyalty twisted into treachery, of a mother's love cut short, and of a community left grappling with the question, how could this happen? This case isn't just about a crime. It's about the fragility of trust, the devastating ripple effects of violence, and the resilience of a grieving mother who refuses to let her daughter's story fade. Melanie Massay was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a mother, a caretaker with dreams of a brighter future. And yet, on that fateful day, she faced an arsenal of bullets, alone, outnumbered, and betrayed. As we unravel this case, we'll explore the warning signs, the motives, and the chilling psychology behind a group attack so heinous it defies comprehension. Stick with us for the next 25 minutes as we walk you through the timeline, the suspects, and the pursuit of justice that's still unfolding. And when we're done, we'll ask you to weigh in. What does this case reveal about the dangers hiding in plain sight? The day before her death, Melanie Massay sent a series of desperate text messages to her loved ones. "I'm so scared," she wrote. "I feel like I'm going to die." Those words, typed in a moment of raw fear, would become a haunting prophecy. According to her mother, Chiaka Brown, Melanie sensed the danger closing in. A dispute on Facebook had escalated, and the threats were no longer just words on a screen. They were real, tangible, and coming from people she knew, people she'd invited into her home, shared meals with, and even sheltered when they had nowhere else to go. What makes this case so chilling isn't just the brutality of the attack. It's the betrayal. 7 individuals, Monty Hayes, Rhea Asia Hollins, Trinity Walker, Dejana Abrams, Jayla Taylor, Jalea Burks, and Isaac Amir Puri, allegedly plotted to ambush a pregnant woman who had shown them nothing but kindness. How does a disagreement online spiral into a coordinated murder? What darkness festers in the human heart to turn friends into killers? As we piece together this tragedy, we'll take you inside Melanie's world, the day that changed everything, and the investigation that's still fighting to bring her justice. The murder of Melanie Massay isn't just a headline. It's a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities we face in our closest relationships. According to the CDC, homicide is one of the leading causes of death for pregnant women in the United States, a statistic that's as shocking as it is heartbreaking. Melanie's case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths. That danger can come from those we trust most, that social media can ignite deadly feuds, and that a single moment can destroy a family forever. As we tell Melanie's story, we're not just recounting a crime. We're shining a light on the warning signs that might prevent another tragedy. So, let's begin where it all started, with the woman at the heart of this story, Melanie Massay. Melanie Massay was the kind of person who lit up a room. At just 21 years old, she was a young mother with a heart full of dreams and a spirit that radiated kindness. Born and raised in Lakewood, Colorado, Melanie was a product of a tight-knit community where neighbors knew each other by name and life moved at a steady, suburban pace. But Melanie wasn't just another face in the crowd. She was a force, a young woman who, despite the challenges of early motherhood, was carving out a path of purpose and compassion. Her mother, Chiaka Brown, described her as a sweet-hearted person who would give the shirt off her back to help others. Melanie's generosity wasn't just talk, she lived it. She opened her home to a friend who was homeless, shared meals with those she cared about, and poured her heart into caring for her 3-year-old daughter. Honesty. At the time of her death, Melanie was 4 months pregnant with twins, a joyous milestone that promised to expand her little family. Melanie's life was defined by her selflessness. After graduating high school, she chose a career that reflected her nurturing nature, working at an assisted living facility where she cared for elderly residents with patience and warmth. She had her mind right, her mother said, a testament to Melanie's focus and determination to build a stable life for herself and her daughter. Her job wasn't just a paycheck, it was a calling. Colleagues described her as outgoing and very independent, someone who brought positivity to those around her, even on the toughest days. Melanie's compassion extended beyond her professional life. Her mother, Chiaka, shared a heartbreaking detail. One of the 7 individuals later charged with her murder had been homeless, and Melanie had taken them in, offering shelter and support when they needed it most. This act of kindness paints a vivid picture of who Melanie was, a woman who saw the good in others even when they didn't deserve it. Her home was a place of warmth, where friends gathered, meals were shared, and memories were made. One of those friends, according to Chiaka, was a childhood companion Melanie had known for years, a bond that made the betrayal all the more devastating. At the center of Melanie's world was her 3-year-old daughter, Honesty. The bond between them was unbreakable, a love captured in a cherished photo Chiaka treasures. 3 generations, Melanie, Honesty, and Chiaka, dressed alike, beaming with pride. Melanie was determined to give Honesty a life filled with stability and joy, balancing motherhood with her career and the excitement of expecting twins. She was 4 months pregnant when her life was taken, a fact that adds an unbearable layer of tragedy to this story. Those twins, who would have been Honesty's siblings, never had the chance to know their mother's love. Melanie's relationship with her mother, Chiaka Brown, was equally profound. Chiaka described her daughter as a very good girl, someone who shared a close, almost inseparable bond with her. In the wake of Melanie's death, Chiaka's grief has been palpable, but so has her strength. "I don't like publicity," she said in an interview with 9 News. "I don't like attention. But for my daughter, it's okay to have the attention. It's okay to show my faith." Chiaka's resolve to honor Melanie's memory has turned a private woman into a public advocate, a mother carrying her daughter's ashes everywhere she goes, keeping Melanie's spirit close. Melanie wasn't just loved by her family. She was a beloved figure in Lakewood. Friends and neighbors described her as a bright young lady, someone whose independence and warmth left a lasting impact. Her death sent shockwaves through the community, transforming Zephyr Street into a place of mourning. The makeshift memorial that sprang up at the site, filled with flowers, notes, and tokens of remembrance, became a gathering point for those who knew Melanie and strangers moved by her story. It's a testament to the ripple effect of one life, one loss, and the collective grief of a community forever changed. Melanie's story is one of promise cut short, of a young woman who embodied kindness in a world that didn't always return it. As we move forward, we'll take you to the day that changed everything, the day Melanie's fears became reality, and a quiet street in Lakewood became the scene of an unthinkable crime. February 28, 2023, began like any other day in Lakewood, Colorado. The 1300 block of Zephyr Street, nestled near the bustling intersection of Wadsworth and Florida, was a picture of suburban calm. Children played, neighbors chatted, and the light rail rumbled nearby, a familiar rhythm of daily life. But by 1:30 p.m., that tranquility would be shattered by a hail of gunfire, a coordinated ambush that would claim the life of Melanie Massay and her unborn twins. This is the minute-by-minute story of a day that changed a family, a community, and a city forever. The day before, Melanie Massay was already on edge. Her phone buzzed with text messages, each one laced with fear. "I'm so scared," she wrote to loved ones. "I feel like I'm going to die." According to her mother, Chiaka Brown, these messages weren't vague anxieties. They were responses to specific threats stemming from a heated dispute on Facebook. What had started as an online argument had escalated into something far more sinister. Melanie sensed the danger, confiding her fears to those closest to her. The threats weren't from strangers. They came from people she knew, people she had trusted, including a childhood friend she'd spent countless hours with. By the morning of February 28th, the tension was palpable. Melanie went about her day, perhaps trying to shake the unease that had settled in her bones. She was a mother, a caretaker, a woman with responsibilities. She couldn't let fear paralyze her. But the threats lingered, a dark cloud over an otherwise ordinary day. Around noon, Melanie was preparing to return home, unaware that her worst fears were about to materialize. At approximately 1:30 p.m., a car dropped Melanie off at her home on Zephyr Street. She wasn't alone. An adult male companion, whose identity has been protected in police reports, was with her. The street was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels safe, unassuming. But that safety was an illusion. According to Lakewood Police, 7 individuals, Monty Hayes, Rhea Asia Hollins, Trinity Walker, Dejana Abrams, Jayla Taylor, Jalea Burks, and Isaac Amir Peary, were waiting, their plan already in motion. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment attack. It was a coordinated ambush, meticulously planned to catch Melanie off guard. The first gunshot shattered the silence. Then another, and another. Witnesses later described a barrage of bullets, a chaotic eruption of violence that turned Zephyr Street into a war zone. Melanie, 4 months pregnant with twins, was struck in the back of the head and leg. Despite the overwhelming odds, 1 woman against 7 attackers, she fought back. Melanie shot that 1 bullet, her mother later recounted, a single act of defiance in her final moments. Her companion was also hit, shot in the back, but he survived his injuries. Melanie and her unborn twins were not so fortunate. The sound of gunshots prompted immediate 911 calls from stunned neighbors. Lakewood police arrived around 1:30 p.m., finding a scene of devastation. Shell casings littered the ground, evidence of the arsenal unleashed on Melanie. By the time officers secured the area, the perpetrators had fled, leaving behind a community in shock and a family destroyed. Chiaka Brown rushed to Zephyr Street, her heart pounding with dread. It was police everywhere, she later told 9 News. So many cars. I couldn't get up here if I wanted to. Barred by police tape, she could only watch as her worst fears were confirmed. What I did see is them bring her out in a body bag, she said, her voice breaking. I couldn't get to her. The crime scene told a grim story. Blood stained the pavement, a haunting marker of where Melanie fell. The makeshift memorial that would soon appear, filled with pink flowers and a heart-shaped wreath, began as a mother's desperate attempt to reclaim the space where her daughter's life ended. My daughter's body was right here, Chiaka said, pointing to the spot. You can still see blood drops from my child being slain. For the Lakewood community, the violence was a violation of their sense of safety, a wound that would linger long after the police tape was gone. As we move forward, we'll meet the 7 individuals accused of this heinous act, unravel their motives, and explore the chilling psychology behind their betrayal. Who could betray a friend, a pregnant mother who had shown them kindness, in such a brutal way? The 7 individuals charged in Melanie Massay's murder weren't strangers lurking in the shadows. They were people she knew, trusted, and helped. Monty Hayes, Rhea Asia Hollins, Trinity Walker, Dejana Abrams, Jayla Taylor, Jalea Burks, and Isaac Amir Peary. These names now stand accused of first-degree murder, their faces etched into the public consciousness as symbols of betrayal. But what drove them to allegedly conspire against Melanie? Was it jealousy, resentment, or something even darker? Let's dive into the suspects, their connections to Melanie, and the chilling motives behind this unthinkable crime. Monty Hayes, 23, was a central figure in the group, allegedly one of the key planners of the ambush. Rhea Asia Hollins, 20, and Trinity Walker, 18, brought youth to the conspiracy, their ages belying the severity of their actions. Dejana Abrams, 22, and Jayla Taylor, 19, were part of Melanie's inner circle, their familiarity making their alleged involvement all the more shocking. Jalea Burks, 19, and Isaac Amir Peary, 23, rounded out the group, with Peary proving the most elusive, evading capture for over 2 years. According to Chiaka Brown, one of these individuals was a childhood friend Melanie had known for years, while another had been homeless and taken in by Melanie's generosity. The investigation revealed a web of relationships that made this crime so personal. These weren't casual acquaintances. They were people Melanie had invited into her home, shared meals with, and supported in times of need. I fed these children, Chiaka said through tears. My daughter housed one that was homeless. The betrayal was not just a violation of trust, but a desecration of Melanie's kindness. Police reports indicate that one suspect carried 2 guns to the ambush, a detail that underscores the premeditated nature of the attack. But what could turn these friendships into a deadly conspiracy? The spark that ignited this tragedy was deceptively mundane, a Facebook dispute. According to Chiaka, the online argument escalated into threats against Melanie, who documented her fear in text messages the day before her death. I'm so scared I feel like I'm going to die, she wrote, a chilling foreshadowing of the ambush. But what was the dispute about? While specific details remain sealed in court documents, Chiaka offered a haunting theory: jealousy. She was such a bright young lady, outgoing and very independent, she said. A lot of that was jealousy. Melanie's life was on an upward trajectory. She had graduated high school, secured a meaningful job at an assisted living facility, and was building a future for her daughter and unborn twins. Her independence and success may have sparked resentment among those who felt left behind. Experts in group dynamics point to psychological factors that could explain the group's actions. Diffusion of responsibility, where each person feels less accountable in a group. De-individuation, the loss of personal identity in a mob mentality. And group polarization, where shared grievances amplify into extreme actions. These phenomena don't excuse the crime, but they offer a lens into how 7 individuals could collectively descend into violence. Was there more to the motive? Some speculate personal grudges, romantic entanglements, or even gang-related tensions, though police have not confirmed these theories. The coordinated nature of the attack, 7 people converging with weapons, suggests a level of planning that goes beyond a simple argument. Were there ringleaders driving the group? Did one suspect manipulate the others? These questions linger, fueling public speculation and keeping the case alive in Lakewood's collective consciousness. Lakewood police hit the ground running, collecting shell casings, analyzing Melanie's single defensive shot, and scouring her phone for clues. The text messages and Facebook threats provided critical evidence, pointing to premeditation. Witness statements corroborated the timeline, and surveillance footage helped track the suspect's movements. But with 7 perpetrators, the investigation was complex, requiring detectives to untangle a web of relationships and communications. The community watched anxiously, grappling with the realization that the danger came from within their own circle. As we move to the investigation's twists and turns, prepare for shocking revelations that deepen the tragedy and prolong the pursuit of justice. The murder of Melanie Massay was a wound that refused to heal. For nearly a year, Lakewood police worked tirelessly, piecing together evidence from a crime scene littered with shell casings and stained with blood. But the investigation was far from straightforward. With 7 suspects, a web of relationships, and a community demanding answers, the pressure was immense. Then came the twists, arrests, guilty pleas, and a 2-year manhunt that kept Melanie's family on edge. Let's dive into the breakthroughs, the betrayals, and the developments that shook this case to its core. In January 2024, nearly a year after Melanie's death, Lakewood police issued warrants for 7 suspects, each charged with first-degree murder. The arrests didn't happen all at once, unfolding over months as detectives tracked down Monty Hayes, Rhea Asia Hollins, Trinity Walker, Dejana Abrams, and Jayla Taylor. By January 2024, 5 were in custody at Jefferson County Jail, facing charges that included first-degree murder, attempted murder, and first-degree assault. The community breathed a cautious sigh of relief, but 2 suspects, Jalea Burks and Isaac Amir Peary, remained at large, a lingering reminder of unfinished justice. Chiaka Brown's resolve never wavered. "You guys think you're going to hide, but you're not," she declared in February 2024. "Isaac and Jalea, you will be found." Her words carried a mother's fury and faith, a promise that justice would come. In March 2024, Jalea Burks surrendered, a significant step forward. But Isaac Peary, the final suspect, remained a ghost, evading capture and prolonging the family's pain. The investigation's biggest twist wasn't just the arrests. It was the nature of the betrayal. As detectives dug deeper, they confirmed what Chiaka had feared. The suspects weren't strangers. They were Melanie's friends, people she'd trusted, including a childhood companion and someone she'd sheltered during their homelessness. This revelation stunned Lakewood, turning a tragic crime into a profound violation of trust. The Facebook dispute, once thought to be a minor spat, was revealed to be a catalyst for a premeditated attack, fueled by jealousy and resentment over Melanie's success and independence. Public reaction was visceral. Local news outlets, including 9 News, covered the case extensively, with headlines emphasizing the personal nature of the crime. Social media buzzed with outrage as Lakewood residents grappled with the idea that such violence could come from within their community. The makeshift memorial on Zephyr Street became a focal point, drawing crowds who left flowers and notes, a collective outpouring of grief and disbelief. The investigation's defining moment came on March 5, 2025, when Isaac Peary was finally arrested in Aurora, Colorado. After more than 2 years on the run, the last piece of the puzzle was in place. All 7 suspects were now in custody, a victory for Lakewood police, and a bittersweet milestone for Chiaka Brown. "I fear no man," she had said, her words now ringing with prophetic weight. The arrest marked a turning point, but it also reopened wounds, forcing Melanie's family to relive the horror as legal proceedings loomed. As we move to the current status of the case, we'll explore the legal battles, the family's ongoing fight for justice, and the legacy of a woman whose love continues to inspire. The murder of Melanie Massay is a wound that Lakewood, Colorado, may never fully heal. As of June 20th, 2025, the legal proceedings against the 7 suspects are ongoing, a slow march toward justice that has tested the resilience of Melanie's family and community. 4 defendants have pleaded guilty, while 3 await trial. Each court date a painful reminder of the lives lost. Yet, through the grief, Melanie's mother, Chiaka Brown, has emerged as a beacon of strength, carrying her daughter's memory forward with unwavering resolve. This is the current state of the case, and a call to honor Melanie's legacy. Inside the Jefferson County Courthouse, the wheels of justice turn slowly but deliberately. By October 2024, 4 suspects had chosen to plead guilty rather than face trial. Rhea Asia Hollins admitted to second-degree murder with a violent crime sentence enhancer, with sentencing set for May 1, 2025. Dejana Abrams and Trinity Walker both pleaded guilty to second-degree assault, with sentencing scheduled for August 4, 2025. Jayla Taylor pleaded guilty to second-degree assault and tampering with physical evidence, with a hearing set for April 28, 2025. These pleas brought some measure of accountability, but for Chiaka Brown, they were only steps on a long road. Monty Hayes, Jalea Burks, and Isaac Peary have pleaded not guilty, setting the stage for trials that promise to be emotionally charged. Hayes' trial is slated for July 7, 2025, Burks's for August 11, 2025, and Peary's next hearing is March 31, 2025. Each proceeding forces Melanie's family to relive the horror of February 28, 2023, a day Chiaka can't escape. "You guys destroyed my family," she said, addressing the suspects. "I won't hear hi, mommy, in the physical realm." The legal system's methodical pace is both a promise of justice and a prolonged agony for those left behind. Chiaka Brown has transformed her grief into advocacy, becoming a powerful voice for her daughter and for violence prevention. The memorial on Zephyr Street, adorned with pink flowers and a heart, stands as a testament to Melanie's life and the lives of her unborn twins. Chiaka carries Melanie's ashes everywhere, a physical reminder of her unbreakable bond. "You may have shot her, you may have pierced my daughter's flesh, but you did not take her endless love," she said, her words a rallying cry for justice and awareness. The Lakewood community has rallied around Chiaka, leaving tributes at the memorial and supporting her public pleas. Local news outlets, including 9 News, have amplified her message, highlighting the broader issue of violence against pregnant women. The CDC's statistic that homicide is a leading cause of death for pregnant women has taken on new weight in light of Melanie's case, prompting calls for better threat assessment and support systems. Melanie Massay's story is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the dangers that can lurk within our closest circles. Her kindness, her independence, and her love for her daughter and unborn twins were stolen in a moment of unthinkable betrayal. But her legacy lives on, in Chiaka's advocacy, in the community's resolve, and in the memorial that marks Zephyr Street as hallowed ground. The legal proceedings are a step toward accountability, but no verdict can replace what was lost. Chiaka's advice resonates with painful wisdom. Before you let them even in your presence, it's time to interview people now. Her words urge us to be vigilant, to take threats seriously, and to seek help when danger looms. As we close, we invite you to reflect on Melanie's story. What warning signs of potential violence have you observed in your own life or community? How can we better protect those we love from the dangers hiding in plain sight? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story moved you, subscribe to Dark Truth Files to join us in uncovering the truths that demand justice. Melanie Massay's love lives on. Let's honor her by spreading awareness and preventing future tragedies.